Glenn Danzig
Yeah.
of the Misfits, Sam Danzig. My car was in his porno movie. There's some pornographic things here, so you might need tissue for your ears. So, Glenn Danzig, punk rock, icon, he started a comic book company that was all kind of the horror stuff that his music is known for. But it also had, and I was unaware of this, I was very aware of his music, but I was unaware of his venture into comic books. And they were adapting one into a movie. And I had a 1969 Chevy Impala that was fairly motored out. And I worked at this bar, and this guy Henry was a production assistant on the Danzig movie all these people were talking about. And he calls me in a panic and was like, "Can I hire your car?" Because they needed a muscle car for the movie. $250 an hour. And I was like, yes. Because the guy that they had hired, car they had hired before, he had to flake out for whatever reason. And so he gives me the directions, it's all frantic, and I'm driving to a cul-de-sac in Woodland Hills. And just this normal house, I don't see any movie trucks or anything like that is in my brain, and it's just this horror movie. In fact, a friend of mine gave them the idea of going to Farmer John's to try and buy buckets of slaw or whatever you call the leftover parts to use as special effects. And I meet everyone, and it's very small, and there's half naked people walking around. Okay, it's a B horror movie. That's cool. There's just a couple director's chairs, and the way the house is set up, they kind of have this production in the dining room, and there's a scene on this half wall on the other side, and these elements are coming together that this is not even a B movie production per se. And Henry hands me the comic book called Grub Girl. And it's about zombie hookers that eat their johns after they have sex. And I'm flipping through it, and it's really graphic, sexually. I expected all of the entrail eating and stuff. And then while I'm flipping through, I hear one of the women say, "Well, are we both gonna take the cum, or who's gonna swallow it, spit it, in whose mouth?" And the guy's like, "Well, you can do it in mine." And I'm kind of the light bulb goes off. And Henry's like, "Yeah, man, it's a porn." And the only thing I could muster to say was, it's $1,200 if they fuck in the Impala. Otherwise, no dice. So they filmed this long sex scene, and Danzig is in this director's chair, watching this monitor, which is of the scene just a few feet away, and it's very surreal. I have these memories of being an 11-year-old skateboarder listening to the Misfits. They're the greatest thing ever. And who would have thought, from Michigan to here to this moment. And the PA guys are standing behind him, and they finish the scene and everything, and they're going back through it on the screen, and one of the PA guys is like, "Man, that's such a big load." And Danzig goes, "I've taken bigger loads than that, man." And it was the proverbial record going, everyone was like, "What?" And he looks around, and he looks at me, and he goes, "He knows, he was there." And I was like, "What?" He goes, you were there, 1979, London, gobbing, man. I took all that in the face. For the punk rockers in the room, gobbing, made famous in London, was when the audience would spit in the band. So he was talking about taking loads of spit and equating that to ejaculate. And I'm like, I was 5 in 1979. I wasn't in London, you know. And not being a judgmental person, I was like, it's cool. And he somehow like honed in on this like punk rock camaraderie, and we go to film. Almost done. We go to film the scene in the car, and there's no permit or anything. And Danzig and I and Henry are sitting in the seat of the director's SUV. The director is Craven Moorhead, is the porn director's name for anyone interested. And everything from that moment where he said he took bigger loads, the whole conversation through the rest of the night was something he could do better. Like, you only got 3 cats? I got 6. And there was like a tiny scrape on the impala, I got sideswiped, and he was like, who did that, man? We'll kill him. Me and you. Just like back in London. And at the end of the night, when everything was wrapping up, it was like, nice to meet you and everything, and he's like, hey man, you want an autograph? And I was like, no, that's cool. And he looked at me like he got like really mad. And I thought he was gonna say like he had more autographs, or I don't know what he was gonna say. And he was like, you're all right, I guess. I'll call you next time. But I never heard from him again.